Today we are focusing on a single hyper-optimized combat machine, the Bushido Paladin. This build is less about just stacking high numbers and more about treating every single skill point and every piece of gear as part of a mathematical formula for peak synergy.
It really is. It's a high-performance formula. The core idea is a classic heavy melee fighter, but its extreme strength comes from this really precise combination of Bushido, parrying, and swordsmanship. And this is critical. This whole machine relies on a very specific mechanic, the accelerated UO Alive 2-second bandage self-healing.
Oh, what?
Without that rapid, reliable self-healing loop, the whole strategy just falls apart.
So our mission today is to pull this all apart, not just list the parts, but really understand the design philosophy behind it. Why do these specific skills create such a potent machine? And right away, the source material gives us our first major insight, a warning really, about trade-offs. This is a two-handed weapon build, and using a shield might actually reduce your block chance. Wild. It's because of how Bushido interacts with the parrying skill. That tells you immediately that optimization here means, deliberately abandoning conventional defensive wisdom.
Absolutely. You're making a conscious choice to forget one type of defense, the shield block, to enable a completely different and often more powerful damage stacking defense from the Bushido skills. It's a fascinating inversion of standard melee design.
Which brings us right to the optimized foundation. This build has, some seriously rigorous demands. We're talking about skills that have to be at the 120 cap. Healing, parrying, swordsmanship, and tactics. That's a massive skill point commitment.
It is, and this is where the optimization really starts. The sources show a fascinating efficiency hack. You often don't need 120 real skill points. This build uses gear to hit that 120 cap, which saves those precious real skill points for other things.
Okay, so give us an example. How does that gear optimization work in practice?
Okay, so take anatomy. To get to the 120 cap, you might only need, say, 82 actual trained skill points.
Right.
The other 38 points come entirely from gear, maybe a +10 trinket, a +14 ring, and a +14 bracelet. And you see the same kind of pattern with parrying, where it's 83 real skill plus a critical +10 from a named item called the Ancient Samurai Do.
So the gear isn't just a boost, it's literally completing the character's core foundation. Now the payoff for getting those three key fighting skills, the Bushido, swordsmanship, and parrying to 120, must be huge.
It is the engine room. You said it. Those three skills combine mechanically to reduce the special move cost by a massive 300 points. Which drops the cost of your main attacks to a mere 5 mana. This is why the build is so dominant. You can spam incredibly powerful special attacks almost endlessly.
So that's the engine. Let's look at the chassis. We're moving to the mandatory stat goals, the soft caps. We need 45% hit chance increase, or HCI, which is obviously essential for your hits to land, and 100% damage increase, DI, to maximize your damage.
But this is where we hit what you could call the Paladin paradox. It's the most critical conceptual piece of this whole build. Defense chance increase or DCI. For any traditional melee fighter, you'd max out DCI. It's your chance to avoid getting hit.
Of course.
This build, though, intentionally aims for a very low DCI, keeping it in a really narrow range of 10 to 20%.
That just flies in the face of every conventional tanking guide. Why would you purposefully make yourself easier to hit?
It's a mechanic trade-off. It's all designed to maximize the synergy with a specific Bushido skill, the counterattack stance. See, counterattack works by automatically responding when you successfully parry an attack. If your DCI is too high, you might just dodge the attack entirely, which is good defensively, but it means you didn't parry, so it prevents the counterattack from triggering.
I get it now. So by keeping DCI low, you make sure you get hit more often, which increases the chance for a successful parry to fire off the counterattack.
You're deliberately sacrificing passive hit avoidance to maximize an active, damage-multiplying counterstrike.
An aggressive defense.
Precisely. Beyond that paradox, we have other goals. Getting high stamina, 150 or higher, which you need with the gear to hit that critical 1.25 swing speed cap. You also want a respectable 70 across all your resistances.
Okay, so 70s across all resistances. But if you're deliberately sacrificing DCI for Counter-Strike, how does that hold up against, say, direct magical or elemental damage?
That's the weakness it highlights. Yeah, 70 is standard, but the lack of high DCI means this character is super vulnerable to elemental damage or magic spam, because you can't passively dodge it. This just emphasizes why you need tactical skills like evasion, which we'll get to. As for the raw stats, to support all this, STR 115, DX 125, INT 20 are the minimums. To hit the total stat cap of 260, the build relies on finding a +25 stat scroll and maybe a +5 scroll of commendation. Every single point is part of the recipe.
Okay, so the skills and strategy are mapped out. But none of this works unless the gear, the arsenal, is perfectly calibrated for that low DCI paradox in the swing speed goal. Let's move to the physical blueprint, the arsenal.
The gear list is less of a wardrobe and more like a complex spreadsheet. You have to mix and match very specific components, often using imbued studded letter pieces to get granular stats like stamina increase, mana increase, and crucially, lower mana cost at 8%.
Let's talk about that swing speed requirement. You mentioned high stamina, but the gear provides that final push to the 1.25 cap.
Correct. You need two key pieces for swing speed increase. The animated legs of the Insane Tinker gives you 10% SSI, and the epaulets of Gothmog's hide gives another 10%.
Right.
And by getting that 20% SSI from your armor, you free up the weapon slot, which is essential for all the leech modifiers you need.
That brings us back to that DCI paradox puzzle. What pieces help you stay in that specific, intentionally low DCI range? Finding gear that subtracts a stat has to be tough.
It really highlights the challenge. You need items that actively lower DCI to balance out the ones that raise it.
So you're balancing pluses and minuses.
Exactly. That piece helps counterbalance something like Korgal's Enchanted Sash, which provides a standard 5% DCI. By carefully mixing them, you stay in that sweet spot, that 10-20% low DCI range, to make the counter-strike strategy work.
Okay, let's zero in on the main weapon, the imbued double axe.
Yeah.
What highly specialized mods does this one piece of gear need?
The weapon itself is a force multiplier. Its primary ability is double strike, secondary is whirlwind attack. Now, because the SSI comes from your armor, you deliberately leave the SSI mod off the weapon. And you have to remove the damage increase mod using a whetstone of enervation.
Wait, hold on. Why remove damage increase? That seems counterproductive if you're aiming for 100% DI.
It's another layer of optimization. Your overall damage increase is already capped at 100% from your gloves and other armor pieces.
Oh, okay.
So removing DI from the weapon frees up item property slots for the most essential factor, the leech modifications.
The leech factor.
Yeah.
Tell us about the sustainability this gives you.
It basically defines your survivability. You get 50% hit stamina leech, so you always have stamina for swing speed, and then a phenomenal 81% each of hit mana leech and hit life leech. Those leeches, combined with that rapid-fire 2-second bandage script, that's the character's lifeblood. It lets you regenerate just immense amounts of health, mana, and stamina in the middle of total chaos.
The sources also mention some variant weapons, right?
Yeah, the double axe is the default, but you can swap out the hipfire area mod for specific slayers like Arachnid, Demon, Undead for boss fights. The bladed staff is also noted as a good two-handed alternative. It's valued for its primary ability, Armor Ignore. It doesn't have the same burst as Double Strike, but Armor Ignore gives you much more consistent, reliable damage against heavily armored targets.
This is where the magic happens then. Segment 3, the core mechanics of Bushido and Chivalry. Let's start with Bushido, the cornerstone that lets this two-handed fighter parry it all.
Bushido gives you two massive offensive bonuses that reward you for being aggressive. First, you have Perfection. You start it by using the Honor skill on your first target. Then, successive hits stack up, building to a 100% bonus damage and a 1,000 luck bonus. It rewards you for staying on one target.
And the second offensive mechanic ties right into the double axe's whirlwind attack.
Exactly. The whirlwind attack bonus. It's a huge damage multiplier, giving you up to 100% bonus damage. But you have to earn it with positioning.
How so?
The bonus only maximizes when you're surrounded by 9 or more enemies. This build is designed to thrive when it's completely overwhelmed. It turns enemy density into raw, destructive power.
A chaos engine. But Bushido isn't just damage, it's also about managing two primary stances, which requires lightning-fast switching. Let's compare counterattack and confidence.
Counterattack is your default. High risk, high reward. When you parry in this stance, you automatically counterattack without messing up your normal swing timer. The damage just stacks up really fast. This is the entire reason for the low DCI strategy, to make sure this triggers as often as possible.
And confidence is the safety valve for when you push that chaos engine a little too hard.
It's your secondary healing stance. When you parry in confidence, you gain stamina and hit points. The sources give the formula. 1 to Bushido divided by 12 hit points. The tactical rule here is simple and unforgiving. Run counterattack until your health drops below half, then switch to confidence until you stabilize, and then switch immediately back. It requires constant vigilance.
That brings up a point about real-time difficulty. If you have to switch back instantly, what about that 20-second cooldown on evasion? How often does that save you?
Evasion is your panic button for specific threats. It is the only way the sources say you can avoid offensive spells and Dragon's Breath, but that 20-second cooldown makes it purely tactical.
You can't spam it.
Can't spam it. You have to anticipate the big hit, like a huge area of effect spell, before you even think about switching into confidence and lowering your health.
Let's transition to Chivalry the Paladin side of things. This spellcasting ability doesn't use normal reagents, right? It relies on tiding points.
Correct. You need a Book of Chivalry, and you get typing points by donating gold at any shrine, like the Spirituality Shrine in Ilshanar. 1 gold equals 1 typing point, up to a max of 100,000. And connecting this to the bigger picture, the sources note that while a full lower regent cost suit prevents you from using up these points when you cast, you still have to buy that initial minimum number of points to get started. Also, high karma is key, as it makes your chivalry spells more effective.
So we have the skills, the gear, the mechanics. Let's move to segment 4, execution and gameplay. This build doesn't just demand high stats, it demands high player skill and precise scripting.
Absolutely. The machine needs constant tending, and a lot of that is automated. The pre-combat setup is all about survival through automation. You configure an auto-bandage script to trigger every 2 seconds. That's your guaranteed healing loop. You also need a looping script for the chivalry spell Consecrate Weapon.
And what does that do?
This spell automatically converts your weapon damage type to target the enemy's lowest resistance. It's a massive passive damage optimization.
So it's basically real-time damage analysis done automatically. Walk us through the essential combat rotation, the opening moves.
It starts with casting the chivalry spell Enemy of 1. That gives you a big damage boost against whatever type of enemy you're fighting. Next, you immediately use Honor on the first target to activate that Bushido Perfection stacking bonus. Only then do you start attacking with Double Strike or Whirlwind.
And tactically, what are the main considerations once the fight is on?
Positioning is key for damage. You have to move to make sure you're near 9 or more enemies when you use Whirlwind, but the biggest tactical challenge is managing Enemy of 1. You have to recast it if new, tougher monsters show up. And the big warning here is that until you finish that recast, you take increased damage from the very mob type you just targeted.
Oof. A moment of high vulnerability.
Very.
What about nasty status effects like Blood Oath?
The sources are specific. Use Enchanted Apples immediately if you get hit with Blood Oath to counter it. And when everything just fails, when you're taking too much elemental damage or the situation spirals, the ultimate disengage strategy is simple. Break line of sight. Getting behind a corner is the panic button to drop enemy aggression and let your 2-second bandages catch up.
What a profound density of information. So, to summarize the whole Bushido Paladin, it's not about raw power. It's about coordinating 7 specialized skills, navigating gear that sometimes has negative stats, and mastering precise timing, especially those 2-second bandages and that split-second stance switching.
My final thought on the value of this deep dive for you, the listener, is really all about the power of mechanical trade-offs. The decision to intentionally aim for low DCI is the perfect example of how sacrificing a seemingly necessary defense actually unlocks superior, synergistic offense through counterattack. It's about understanding and exploiting the game's specific rules, not just chasing the highest numbers on a character sheet.
That's a brilliant distinction, optimizing the rules, not just the stats.